2021 was a very interesting year for me, and without going into too much detail, I ended up not being able to post a lot on the channel, but I did record a lot of videos. I was still reading a lot. I read like 125 books in the year and recorded reviews, vlogs, wrap-ups, and just never edited them and posted them. So if you're watching this video now, it means that I have decided to post these and they're all out of order and they have no bearing on anywhere that we're at in reality right now, but I use this channel like my own personal reading diary, so I'm posting them. Anyway, this intro is just to give you a little bit of context onto the really old video.
Alright, it is Friday, which means it's time for another weekend reading vlog. I've been vlogging pretty much every weekend of this month, although you're not seeing these in real time, so who knows when it is when you're watching this. But last week I was kind of bored with the two books I was reading, so I decided this weekend I'm actually going to switch it up and just read one book, which is Cibola book number 4 in the Expanse series by James S.A. I have been vlogging every reading experience for these books so far. I will update you over every 100 pages. What's actually going to be different about this specific vlog with this specific book is that I've actually seen the TV show sections for this book. So probably a lot of my notes and conversations are going to be on how this book is different than the TV show. So if you haven't seen the show or you haven't read these books, spoilers, I guess. Just as a PSA for anyone who has not read The Expanse yet, I truly believe that these books are best experienced blind, so I would suggest that you stop watching this video and just go at least start with Leviathan Wakes first, because there are so many twists in that book that absolutely make it worth it to go in blind. But if you've already read these books or watched the TV show and you're just here to get my experience, let's get started. So it's time for my first update. If you hear clicking in the background, that is controller noises, and I have ice cream to talk about this. So a couple of things. The TV show changed a whole heck of a lot, and I'm really not a big fan of the changes that they made, except for the fact that they did add in more female characters in different types of roles. That's one place that I feel like James S.A, the author duo, really struggles, is in providing like realistic, strong, and non-strong female characters that are just realistic personality-wise. I think the book is better. I think the way that they're handling the escalation of tension works a lot better, at least for the story that's being told overall. I was pretty upset at the beginning because my personal character images had been taken over by the show actors, and that's always a bad day. So there are actually two characters from book 1 and book 2 that are in this story, and we're following their perspective like as they're on this new exploration. So we're following Havelock, who was Miller's partner in Leviathan Wakes, who ended up leaving like early on and going to join Protogen. He's in this book. And then Bazia was Prax's friend on Ganymede, who also had a kid who was immunodeficient and kidnapped by Dr. Strickland. I love seeing them again and having them back, and we totally missed out on that in the show because they just picked some random characters to follow, and I like what's happening. Also, Naomi doesn't go to freaking doTERRA. I don't know why that happened in the show. Like, what were they trying to do? Are they like spoiling stuff for future books? I don't really know. I thought I would have a harder time reading this book because I've already seen the show and I know what's going to happen, but I'm actually enjoying it a lot more because I'm picking up the differences and I'm seeing how much better the book is. Although, again, the female character representation, right? We've had 2 female characters, 3-ish, besides the ones that we already know. And they all kind of have the same bland female personality where they're like a little weepy and not very capable for this colonization project, which I love the commentary on colonization and how they're setting this whole conflict up to be. No one really seems like the good guy, and I feel like in the show they seemed like they had, a side that they agreed with more. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the vlog, but I may not actually be able to finish this book this weekend. I'm hoping I will, but it takes me about 12 hours to read an Expanse book, so we'll see if I get that much time over the weekend. I do feel like the book is doing a better job of making the investigator and Miller look a lot more like sinister, or at least suspicious, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I think that's pretty much everything I have for this update, though. I will see you again at page 200. Alright, I just reached page 200. I am very tired. I'm going to bed even though it's only 11:30. Updates. So Murtry is even more horrible in the book than he was in the show, and I want him shot in the face as soon as possible. And I don't understand how he's made it this long without being shot in the face. I'm super curious to see how the proto-molecule alien stuff happens as we keep going, and Holden's interactions with Miller's. So far they've been very similar to how they were in the show, but I'm just curious to see how they actually play out. I'm having a really good time reading this book. I really like all of the drama that's happening. Most of the Expanse books, I've been really bored by the drama, and I don't know if it's the fact that I already saw all of this coming that has made me a lot more invested, but I am a lot more invested in how everything's going down. I also would like to say that I'm very annoyed that the show added a completely unnecessary romance element with Amos and one of the security details, because that's nowhere in the book, at least so far, and I don't like it, because Amos didn't need that in his life. As far as why I think the book is better just in general than the show, there are some specific scenes that were directly translated from book to TV show, but the book did them better. Even cinematography wise, I feel like if they had followed the book and used it as a script, it would have made the scene better, and then thus my investment in the story overall better. One specific example is when Elvie and Holden, they're out in the desert. They went to go look at the proto-molecule spider thing. They're sitting and they're talking about Holden's experiences and what Elvie thinks is going on with the biology of the planet. And it's dark, and there's the stars, and there's the burning thing right there. It's a very intimate moment of two people who don't know each other sharing their experiences with this big crazy extraterrestrial thing. And in the show they had a lot of those conversations, but it was always in the daylight, standing across from each other, professional conversation. And the conversation in the book wasn't unprofessional, but it was just different. And I'm rambling because it really bothered me that the show is, I think the show in general is just not as good. I think the vibe that they went for is not the vibe of the book, and it hinders my ability to invest in the show. But it's fine because the books are so great. They're just so great. Alright, I read 200 pages. Hopefully I can read maybe 200 more tomorrow and then 200 on Sunday. I don't know, we'll see. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and I will see you in the next update. I sound like I'm ending the video. I'll see you later when I get to page 300. Bye. is Saturday evening. We were out door dashing all day, but I did get to read some while we were out, and I just wrapped up the 300-page mark. I don't really have anything new to say, except that the stuff with Naomi getting captured and being taken to the Edward Israel adds like a whole new level of tension to what's going on down below. And I don't think this happened in the show. I don't remember it. Scotty doesn't remember it. So that's been like really exciting. The big natural disaster moment is coming. They're all hiding in the ruins. I like the way the ruins and everything proto-molecule is described in the book way better than in the show. In the show, they make it way more mechanical than it is a mix of mechanical and natural. So that's fun. That's really all I have for the page 300 update. I really loved how like intense the feeling of foreboding is. Like we could tell something was going to happen, something was coming soon. So I really enjoyed that whole aspect of this book. This may be one of my favorites, but it's so unfair because I've already seen the show. So I don't think that's really fair to say. I don't know. It's weird. I'm going to keep reading. Hopefully I'll get to page 400 tonight, and then I'll only have about 200 pages to read tomorrow. So I will have made my goal, and that's like impressive. I was not planning on reading this whole book this weekend, but there we have it. Okie dokie, page 400 reached. I'm going to bed. It is, what time is it?
12:15.
12:15. I'll read the next 200 pages tomorrow. There won't be any issues with that. Updates. I am really enjoying this section of the book. I really liked how the colonists, the squatters, and the like RCE people are actually working together in their survival situation. The show made it seem like they were still working against each other, setting up in like two separate sections of the structures, but no, they're like working together to try to get everything done and to try to keep everyone safe, and I really like that. There's also a really interesting conversation about sex, and I enjoyed the conversation because one of our characters, LV, develops a crush on Holden, and she's like thinking about him constantly, and then she has a guy friend who's like, you're not actually in love with him, you're just horny, so let's bang one out real quick and you'll feel a lot better. I don't know, I'm awkward talking about sex, but it was really interesting look at it as like adults having conversations about sex, and that's what I love about adult books, is that you can have conversations like this and they be important to the progress of the story and the characterization of the characters, because that's real life. And if you were living on a planet in the middle of nowhere, the conversation was on how, as like animalistic creatures, humans, sex is one way that we find comfort and we find like coping mechanism through trying times. So it was just really interesting and I enjoyed it. I think part of why I'm enjoying this book a lot more than I have some of the other sequels is because two of our new perspectives, we've actually met these characters before. That's been one of my big struggles, is like, I don't want to meet new characters every single time. And then the one perspective that we haven't met before, I watched her a lot on the show, so I felt like I already knew her. But I think even if I hadn't done that, I would still be enjoying it because of like the conversations that are happening. We're spending the entire time on the new planet. In the show, they bounce back and forth between the new planet and other stuff happening back in the Sol system, and I was not a fan of that. But here, we're in the trenches, we're getting it done, and I'm really, really enjoying it. This is probably going to go under book 1 for me. So it'll be book 1, book 4, book 3, book 2. Book 2 sucked so much. Alright, I'm done for the night. I will see you guys tomorrow. Age 500 update. And if you haven't been paying attention, yes, this is the same shirt that I've been wearing all weekend. Don't judge me. Things are really like heating up pace-wise. They're getting really busy, crazy. I'm enjoying myself still. I haven't had any points in this book where I've been bored or upset. I am very angry with Mercury and the RCE, and I know you're supposed to be, but I just don't understand how people can be so horrible that you're literally going to sabotage rescue missions just because you don't like how, like, it has nothing to do with you. Just leave it alone. Okay. I did get to read one of the funniest scenes I've read in like a really long time. Okay, so when Havelock is like rescuing Naomi, really Bastia came to rescue them, and Havelock and Naomi decide to help and like leave, and he's on the radio with the militia team, and he's like teasing them for how bad they are at their job and like how much he didn't get to teach them. It was hilarious. So funny. These people that are so gung-ho and they have no idea what they're doing. I guess it was a really good illustration of like how that stuff goes down. But it was just hilarious. I'm in the mental picture of those guys going out in space with these like live fire weapons that they've never practiced with, and they're just spinning in space. Oh, it was funny. It was funny. I'm super curious what's going on with Holden and Miller down like in the depths. I know what's like gonna happen because I watched the show, but I don't know like what's actually happening because I felt like the show did a really bad job of explaining. Like, they kind of explained a little bit, but not nearly as much as I'm probably going to get, and I'm really excited. But we've got less than 100 pages left. I'm going to finish here in a couple of hours, and then the reading vlog will be over. I'm still going to say that this is going to be, like, number 2 as far as my ranking of the books. I liked Leviathan Wakes more than this one. Alright, I'm going to go pick up some pizza, get some stuff to drink, and then be back for the last 100 pages. I'm so excited. I'm having such a good time. So we're officially done with book 4 of The Expanse, and I can't believe that this is only book 4. I feel like this should be book 6 or something. I really enjoyed every aspect of this book. I loved how we got to spend so much time on the new planet and how every aspect of the story was learning and getting more information, and just our knowledge base of the universe was expanding. I love that. I love that. The TV show switched back and forth between the new planet and being back in the original solar system, and I really think that was a poor decision because the whole purpose of this book is to get to know the new world. I do need to correct something that I said earlier. I said it seemed like the show built the romance between Amos and Way up, and it wasn't in the book at all, but it was a little bit at the end. They don't ever necessarily say it's like a romance, but they kind of hint at some things. I'm very satisfied. Like I've said before, this is going to be number 2 in my ranking of the books overall. I don't really have anything else to say. I think the ending was satisfying, although it was a little bit too perfect. And I wonder if we're almost leaving the proto-molecule and the designers behind and moving on to this greater, bigger threat now. I kind of hoped the two would overlap a little bit and that we might actually get to see some working proto-molecule people. I mean, we still could, but it really seems like they're just dead and we're moving on from them, and we're gonna be focusing on this new threat of like the darkness. I can tell from the epilogue though that the next, and from what I've seen of the show, that the next book is gonna be like very politically heavy again and like not as much of the exploration, so I'm probably not gonna enjoy it as much, which makes me apprehensive to start it. I don't really know when I'll start that. I'm probably not gonna do a full review for this. I feel like the farther you get into the books, it's hard to do reviews because spoilers and everything. So this is probably just going to be all of my thoughts on the internet of this book up to this point. I am going to do a show review once we actually finish the show. We haven't finished. We're still on like halfway through season 5. But let me know what you thought of this book, if you loved it as much as I did. I kind of wish the cover actually matched more of what I feel like was happening, because I feel like this, like, I guess it kind of does. But I feel like this doesn't really match the vibe. I wish there was more of the planet in here than just whatever this is. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the Expanse series and you want more content on that, make sure you subscribe because I'm reading through all the books and watching all the show like I've said before. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.